Howdy everyone. The first step for the canopy cut is to first at least mark a line, if not tape a line, so you can cut off all of the, I don't know if this will show up, but there are these areas of the canopy where it was clamped into some kind of a jig so it can be formed. And there's all along the perimeter, there are these areas where you can see these definite clamping marks on the canopy. So what I have done, this plastic is sticky when you peel it back. So I cut the plastic back and then I taped down all the edges of the plastic. And then this forward edge of the tape is representing where I'm going to cut. So I'm actually going to cut along this edge of the tape. The rest of this tape is just holding this plastic in place. I'm going to try not to get any shavings from the cutting process up underneath this plastic if I can help it. As I go, I may have to retape this as I continue to cut and trim. I may have to add more tape. But that's the idea, both on the outside and up underneath on the inside. You want to pull that plastic back or cut it back and then finish off those edges with tape so nothing can get underneath it. And then either mark a line or use the tape edge as your line so you know where to cut. So that's all I've done so far, is just mark off where I need to cut to remove all of this scrap from the molding process. You can see possibly here, maybe not. There are some more clamping marks all through here. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out how exactly I am going to make this initial cut. Here is my plan. I have a table set up outside. I've got it padded, and I think I'm going to cut the canopy upside down. So I'm actually going to lay this part of the canopy on the padded table, so all these edges will be upright and exposed, and I can go ahead and cut. I'm hoping that works. I know people make fixtures and do different things different ways, but I'm going to try just to have this upside down on a table and cut it that way. If that works and it continues to work, the only time I'll need this frame here is when I make the separating cut that cuts this canopy into two pieces. That might be the only time I need this frame. But I'm not there yet. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to let it heat up. It's really, really warm outside. It's pushing mid 80s, 90-ish. So I'm going to take this outside and just let it sit in the shade, but outdoors to warm up a little bit. And I'm going to try to figure out what tool combination is going to work to start making this initial cut. All right, let me get cranking on that, and we'll see how it fits. All right, talk to you here in a minute. Howdy everyone. So I've completed the very first round of trimming of the canopy, and all I did, like I said, was to cut off the bottom flange area all the way around where the canopy itself was held during the forming process. Here are the scrap pieces. I still have tape on them as I cut. I would tape them to help hold them in place as I finish the cut so they wouldn't basically rip off from under their own weight as I cut. But like I said, it's just the initial start of the cutting. And what I ended up doing was I didn't use this frame at all. I went ahead and I decided to try what I said I was going to try. So I have a couple of old bed comforters folded up as padding, and I took them outside and I laid them on a table, a round plastic table. And then I basically just had the canopy upside down, laying right on the comforters, and that's it. I didn't support it with anything else. I didn't fixture it. I didn't strap it or anything of that nature. I physically just took the canopy, carried it outside, flipped it upside down, laid it on these comforters, and started trimming. So here's what I use. Like I said, I don't have a die grinder or anything of that nature. I don't have an arbor to use the disc that Vans provided. So I just went ahead and used what I have, which is a simple Dremel. And I've got a 90-degree attachment. And I use these little Dremel reinforced cutoff wheels, basically sanding discs. And that worked quite well. The Dremel and the 90-degree adapter, they get pretty hot. I did all of this cutting. I went completely around the perimeter. What I had done was I did it multiple passes. So rather than do a single cut all the way through, I would do like a light cut to basically establish the line, and then I'd come back and do a deeper cut, and then I'd come back and do the final cut. And I had done that on all four sides. And this is the disc that I started with, and it did just fine. You can see in relation to a brand new disc, it might be slightly smaller. So it did wear down maybe a little bit, but it's not really that noticeable. And I think I've got like 5 of these. I've got 4 or 5 more new ones. So I think these will probably finish the canopy before I need to buy new ones. But I do like them because they're thin, but they are very robust because they're reinforced with something, I don't know what. But they are thin and they're robust, and they leave a very, very nice edge on the canopy. Now, I did go back and I actually used a little Scotch-Brite pad mounted to an arbor, mounted to my cordless drill. And I use that to clean up the edges, but I don't know that it's necessary because that sanding cutoff wheel leaves such a nice finish. It's almost, I don't know that it's necessary to come back and do anything else. Of course, when I'm finished with the canopy and I'm ready to install it, I will polish these edges basically. But knowing that I've got multiple iterations of cutting and trimming and fitting, I think I may just go ahead and do my cuts with the Dremel and leave it at that. I think it leaves a good enough finish that I don't need to concern myself with stress and cracking. So that's it. Like I said, I've got it cut. I showed you the tool that I've used, and here's the final product so far. I did lay this really quick on the fuselage, and of course it laid up there really nice initially, but you know, there's a lot of trimming left to do. So I'm going to clean up a little bit more. Some of my tools and different things are a little dusty from all the cutting. It is a mess using the Dremel and the grinding wheel. I had a long sleeve shirt on, hearing protection, eye protection, a dust mask, gloves, and it makes quite the mess. So definitely will not be doing any of that inside. So next up will be to throw the canopy back up on the fuselage and start marking up what I need to mark up to continue fitting and trimming and fitting and trimming. And I'll document anything that I feel is worthy documenting, but like I said, for now it's just going to be fit, mark, remove, cut, fit it, mark it, remove it, cut it, you know, just work it down, try to get it to fit as best I can. So I'll work on that, and I will talk to you guys later. Howdy again, everyone. Real quick, just wanted to show what the canopy looks like sitting actually on the fuselage. Of course, this is just immediately after I did the initial cut, just to get the flashing around the perimeter off. And I just wanted to throw it up on there real quick and just get a look-see of what comes next. So the next thing that I'll do, which I have not talked about, I'm going to put a center line on the fuselage here and probably on the instrument glare shield. And I'm going to mark a center line down the center here as well. And I'm going to try to find center line of the canopy and mark it. Just like Van says, you can use those lines as references. Every time you put the canopy on and off, you can kind of put it back where it came from. I may do that. I actually may do it with the canopy in place, because when I put it on, it tends to want to take a natural set. If it's shifted one way or the other, as I lay it on the airplane, it kind of walks into a settled position that it likes. So I'm going to visit that some more, and I may actually mark center lines with the canopy actually in place rather than marking the canopy on the bench and marking the fuselage separate. But I'm not there yet. I just wanted to get an initial feel for what things look like, and how they initially fit, and what I may or may not have to cut. Of course, I've got to cut a lot. So anywho, there it is, the initial fit of the canopy to the fuselage. It's pretty cool. I gotta admit, it looks pretty sweet, pretty jacked, but I'm not getting too excited because long road ahead still. So that's it, guys. All right, I'll talk to you here shortly.